Yo, okay, okay. Okay, Hey. Yo, boss chick getting money. You know my friends acting funny. I don't care what they gotta say about me. I'ma stay getting stacks money. Got stacks on deck. Look at my polo hat. Stay spitting like a money, like a brat. Anyway, boss chick getting money. Rocking to this beat. You looking really funny. Anyway, Bessie Johnson on my wrist. They be like they feeling this. Bessie Johnson on my shoulder. Like wait, hold up. Quincy getting money. Some of my friends be acting funny. See haters everywhere we go. See haters every time we hit the show. I blow. They mind when I hit another rhyme. You know they hate too much that swag. You know they hate me cause I stay poppin' tags. Long hair, don't care what the problem is. I'ma stay getting money. Think I want some honey. Certified diva. Hey, nice to meet you. Senorita, give me hugs and I stay rockin' us on my feet. What you know about me?